Well, we'll see you all in 2026. That was fun. Just disaster. How you doing, Pop?
Ain't gonna be no sugarcoating from me tonight. It's stunning. Like it's stunning. I mean, we were gonna jump on a little bit early. The fans were leaving the stadium early, so I just said, "Hey, let's do a bit of a live react with a few minutes left." And literally was watching the game on my phone as I was getting a few things ready upstairs, and see Jayden Daniels rolling around on the turf with, looks like a pretty serious injury. If there's one saving grace, I guess if there was one part of his body that he needed to hurt. It was his non-throwing arm, but um, just can't believe he was still in the game. I don't. I don't understand what the point of that is. Nobody can
Complete
explain it to me.
malpractice.
If everyone wants to let's talk about you want to try and get some momentum going for what? It's 38-14. That's the final
Season's
result. They
over.
still
Season's
ended
been
up scoring.
over.
Do you feel any better about that?
It's just,
Getting a garbage time touchdown? Like,
it's
it's ridiculous.
ridiculous.
So, I mean, we're emotional. We're going to apologize that for from the beginning. We usually, I mean, obviously, this is a literally a, they call it a mom and pop store. This is a pop and son store of a
Gobble Pop
podcast,
store.
but we try to, keep it as professional as we can. But this is just raw emotions at this point. And I mean, I thought Nikki Jabala had that tweet. This is the kind of performance, and this was before Jayden Daniels got hurt. This is the kind of performance that gets people fired. And look, I've been an apologizer for the injury situation, but this is not just that. This is a team that's been poorly coached, that's not ready to play. I'm going to give you some examples of that a little bit later. There's a sequence of events in this game that just speaks to everything about how this team's just not ready to perform. It's a talent issue, but that goes on AP. And even with the talent, there are less talented teams that perform better than how we're performing. And you've got a quarterback out there that feels like he has to put the cape on and is just so
I said
competitive.
it.
He's
I
got
said
no
it.
one to throw to.
Early in the
So
game, I said it. I was texting Pop individually. I was in group chats with people. I was saying the same thing. I said, "You're going to get the kid killed physically or mentally.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
only. It's. I don't know if it's gonna, And unfortunately, mentally, he is so damn mentally strong that he can't quit, and then that becomes your detriment, and you get yourself killed physically. And like all the prayers and love in the world to Jayden, we don't deserve him. We don't. This is not a serious football team. This is not a serious franchise. This is not a serious coaching staff. Um, I got I got a lot of thoughts and feelings, most of which for the sake of my employment, I shouldn't vocalize on tape. Um, and then post to a public platform. This is a joke. This is a joke. I mean, whatever you got to fire everybody. I mean, the
yeah. I
reason,
mean,
let me tell you what. The reason Joe Witt Jr. has not been fired is because Joe Witt Jr. is Prince Harry. He's Princess Diana. He's a figurehead. Joe Witt Jr., I'm sure he does a lot, but he's representing Dan Quinn. He is running Dan Quinn's system with Dan Quinn's players
yeah,
doing what Dan Quinn wants to do. So that's why he hasn't been fired. That's why play calling abilities haven't been taken away from him because he's not calling plays in the first place. This is Dan Quinn. This is everything that they said about the guy when he left Atlanta has been 1,000% true. And then now we've seen it all be true this season. He caught he caught a fluke season last year with a rookie quarterback that was hot that nobody could stop. And now you come back this year, you run the same squad back with an unsustainable plan to victory. You get what you get, and then you get the only good thing that this franchise has had for the 28 years of my life. You get him killed. Congrats. For what? For what? So you can make it 38-21 and save your job? So you can make it 38-28 and say, well, I'm proud of the way we boys fought, and that's the culture? What did Seattle do? They put in Drew Lock. Are you kidding me? Are you
There's no
kidding me?
there's no reason for him to be in the game at that
I
point.
can't watch
I can't.
another game coached by him. This is ridiculous. It's
Well,
completely
it.
unacceptable.
I mean, we're doing this pre here in the press conference because, got to be completely honest, we just want to get on and get it over with.
What can he say?
Um,
What's the point of a
but
press conference? Don't host
my
one.
point is that no, but let me finish my point. My point is that I hope to God, I love the people that cover this team, but I hope they're courageous enough to really get on them about this because I can't live with the performance of tonight. It's awful. They've done this time and time and time again this year. That's the fourth time we've played on prime time and got our butts kicked 4 times. Um, and but yeah, I mean, to have him in the game at that point, there's just no point. There's no good reason. And I was, just the if I have to provide evidence, there's the text messages to you, and you said it too. Like we were both screaming, "Get him out of the game." And I'll be honest with you, this is the God's honest truth. Before this game, I had a lot of false bravado. I was trying to build it, but I knew in my heart of hearts that we were going to get beat tonight. I knew it. Okay, I didn't say it out loud, but I knew it, and you just have to trust me on that. And I'll tell you how I know I knew it. Because my only thought going into this game was, please don't let Jayden Daniels get hurt. I said, I almost don't care about the results. Please don't let him get hurt. That's how little confidence I really, in the end of the day, have in this team. And, you know, I think it's also like you look at the situation and okay, it's 14-0 and it's terrible. Okay, it's terrible. It just we're getting completely pushed around and dominated on both sides of the football. Then we drop the ball on a kick return, give it back to them, right? And granted, our main kick returner gets hurt. Peace. Drop it and give it back to them. They score because we can't stop them, obviously. Then on a 3rd and 1 from our own 29 or 30, whatever it was, Jayden Daniels is going to break one for a touchdown. He's gone. And Zach Ertz jumps off sides. Like your wily veteran who's supposed to be your most, to be honest, who's probably our best weapon right now. As sad as that says,
Who
he's
sucks?
our best weapon.
And he's
He's
a
our
bad
best
football
weapon
player, and he's our
right
best
now.
weapon right now.
He's our best weapon right now, right? And he's jumping off sides and he takes away a touchdown run. So they give themselves zero chance to be in a game because the combination of inferior talent overall, inferior coaching, and then mental mistakes all over the field, which you can tie back to point number 2, which is inferior coaching. I just really felt it, and I felt it from the off season. There was just a general level of arrogance in this team, in this front office, in this coaching staff, and it's got all start at the top in the ownership group. They thought their you know what didn't stink. They thought everything they touched was going to turn to gold magically. And they thought this genius move of getting these 1-year rentals over and over and over again and trading away picks to do that, which now you've screwed yourself on, was going to work. And it didn't. It didn't. Um,
It's and
so, and
like,
I mean, the wheels are completely off the cart at this point.
oh, I mean, dude, you got to fire everybody. I'm serious. Like, you can't. How do you go out and put your neck on the line for Dan Quinn after tonight, after what he showed you? And I tweeted it. I said, "This is the NFL. Why is the NFL so great? Because there's parity year over year over year, right? Teams that were great last year stink the next year, us. Teams that stink one year were great the next year, us last year, right? That's why guys that backups outperform starters when starters get hurt and earn their role all the time. All the time. Backups outperform starters when there are injuries. Fourth rounders ball out. Second rounders ball out. Third rounders ball out. Seventh rounders ball out. Guys can play well that aren't starters. Guys get hurt all the time. I was talking to my friend about this, and he was saying, "Yeah, that's why it's something I really like about baseball is the way they're able to develop guys year over year over year over year that I miss watching football because football is such a physically demanding sport. Guys get hurt all the time. It is a normal thing in the NFL. The injuries excuse for me doesn't work. It gets to a point where it doesn't work because your backups have consistently been terrible across the board. That's on roster building, that's on your GM, and that's on your head coach. Because you know what? If you're talented enough to be in the National Football League, you should be able to make the right run fit. You might be smaller than the guy and get ran over. You might be slow and not get there in time, but you should be in the right place mentally. These guys are lost. Week in and week out, they're lost. Receivers are not cutting back at the right times. And Jayden, as a result, has 11 scramble attempts through 4 quarters and gets himself killed because he's the only one out there trying to make something happen. You can't. It's complete. It's malpractice. It was malpractice to have him out there for that sequence in the first place with the amount he was under pressure, and then the what you've put around him is heinous. I actually thought he played pretty well given everything
He
else
did
that was out
everything.
there
He
tonight.
did
He
everything
did
he could.
everything he could. And he
Yeah.
finally, you could see the switch flip in his head, which scared me. You saw it on the first drive. The switch flipped in his head, which was, I got to do this myself tonight. And that, when you put guys in those positions, these hyper competitive guys, this is the kind of stuff that happens. And it's just, I was feeling like Quinn had lost the locker room and should be gone before the injury. But I think the injury in a vacuum is a enough of an offense for me that I think he absolutely has to go. I think they should fire him tomorrow morning, and they
Yeah.
won't. That's not how it's going to get
No,
done.
it's probably not going to
But they
happen.
should they should absolutely fire him tomorrow morning.
No, I
If
mean,
I
look,
was Josh Harris, I would have walked down there and done it before Jayden was even off the sideline. It's
look.
ridiculous.
There's no defense in terms of how the team's played. Um, you know, look, I mean, I think at some point you got to put either Jaden's got to realize that he can't play hero ball, or the team, and which I think the team's got to realize that they can't and put him in that position. And I just think if I'm him and I'm his advisors, his mom or whoever, I just don't rush to come back at all this year because they got to build a team around him, and they don't have one right now. And maybe part of that's coaching too. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can only look and they've lost four straight, and they didn't look that great before they lost four straight. They had one, you know, really good performance in LA, which thank goodness we got to see live, and that's the peak. Going to be the peak of this season. Maybe that will, um, you know, it's hard to lose out in this league. I'm sure they're gonna Marcus Mariota is a capable player. I'm sure they're going to scrape and scratch and probably get a couple more wins, but it ain't looking good. I mean, the only
I think they're
silver
going to win
lining that
another
I can
game.
see at this point is they're going to have a really nice draft pick next year in the first round.
Yeah, I hope there's a good
Um,
right tackle available that needs 4 years before he's ready to start.
yeah.
I, it's just, I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm not able to continue a logical conversation about the football side of things at this moment because of the just the level of insanity that this team has subject us to
Well, the problem,
this
I
year.
mean, the problem is that there's only one player on this entire football team that any team fears, and that's Jayden Daniels. You can't win like that. You can't. You don't have a weapon on offense. Forget, bar the quarterback. You don't have a weapon on offense that anybody fears. Is Debo Samuel a nice piece? Yes. At this stage, he's a nice complementary piece to the offense. And if you had real weapons at receiver or a real dynamic runner, and Bill ain't it, by the way, at least not right now. And there's nobody on defense that you fear. There's nobody. And team after team after team that we play have one or two or three guys that you look at and say, they're a problem. They're a matchup issue. And the Seattle team is really good. They're really, really good, but we're supposed to be really good too. And, to go out there, I don't know that I can remember. I'm sure there are because of how bad this team has been. I mean, you know, my wife had, I think, the best line of the night. They were wearing throwback jerseys, and that was a throwback performance to
Yeah,
some really miserable days. And I know those
100%.
in Pacific, were the Super Bowl era, which is long gone. So
Never been
I don't
further
know.
away.
I'm sure it'll get better, but it's hard to it's hard to see any light at this point. It's bad because the roster needs a complete overhaul.
The best thing that
And
can
that
happen
that doesn't give
at
you
this point,
optimism that, now teams do turn it around in a year, but you're back at a point where you're at rock bottom again.
at this point, the best thing that can happen. I tried my best to avoid seeing the actual clip. Saw it. At this point, because Jayden ain't coming back this year. So unless we
Yeah.
think Marcus Mariota is about to rip off seven straight and take us to the playoffs and win four games on the road and bring us to the Super Bowl, at this point, the best thing that can happen is that we just lose and everybody gets fired. That is the best
So
thing
what
that can
did the
happen for
injury look
rebuilding us
like?
this
What did
forward.
the injury look like to you? Was it an elbow, his arm?
I'm,
What was it?
I'm not
What'd
a
you
doctor,
see?
but his arm is completely not facing the right direction.
Yeah.
There's no bone coming out, but it's like one of those leg breaks where the leg's just not where it was. That's where his elbow's at, completely behind him and in the wrong direction. He tried to brace himself falling,
Yeah.
and it like completely snapped in the other direction.
Well,
So
it's
it's as bad as I've seen an arm injury. Don't look it up if you haven't seen it. Spare yourself. I was really trying not to see it, and it just comes right up on my timeline. But it's yeah, like I said, he ain't coming back this year. God willing, he's okay to start the season next year. I don't know. That certainly seems like the kind of thing that's going to take a year. But yeah, the best thing that can happen is you lose every game this year, and you get. I mean, I don't know. We're having trade back conversations on November 1st after going 12-5 and making it to the NFC Championship game.
at this point, like I was already there before this game, but
I don't see another win.
sell
You're gonna
everybody
go
and get draft picks. Like
everybody,
anybody that you got
everybody.
any interest, play young guys. There's no reason to hold on to anyone that's on this team. There just isn't, other than Jayden, of course, who, let's just hope, um, that arm is, something that can get fixed.
Yeah. Apologies to whoever's watching at this point for my lack of
You're doing
inept
fine. No need
breakdowns,
for
but
apology. You're doing fine.
it's just to the
It's
point where
impossible. You
there's no
can't
point.
do a
What's
you
the point
can't
in
do a
saying
breakdown of this game. I mean, look,
what's the
Sam
what's the
Darnold was
point?
great. We couldn't. I mean, they had no answer for number 11.
He didn't throw an incompletion in the first half.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold.
he was great, and they were great. And anything that I did to disrespect Seattle and not think they're a really good team, they look like a really, really, really good team. They're probably really, really good. We're not probably we're really, 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 really bad. But they're just well coached. They've got guys you fear, and Yeah, it's not good, and we've got what more? 8 more of these things.
Don't remind me.
So we'll do our best. I mean, this is supposed to be fun for us. It's not a lot of fun right now. We'll kind of gather ourselves, and you'll see a pod. Um,
Next week's
you know,
schedule is going to be disrupted anyways. I have some travel, so
yeah,
we'll have to
yeah,
figure that out.
yeah,
That was already on the books. I got a wedding, so I'm not gonna be around for the Detroit game post game. So some stuff's gonna be weird, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, why would I?
yeah.
It is
Well,
what it
that's going to
is.
just be another one that you just walk into and go, there's literally no chance. There just isn't. And, because we just don't have bodies that we can put on the field. They're coming off a loss, so they're going to be pissed. Um,
Yeah, you gotta
yeah.
sell everybody worth anything, and you gotta just lose out. It's just like there's no like. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't tell the guys that, but at this point, like I'm why? What's the
Well,
point,
and it's,
man? Like
the thing
Cliff
is,
ain't
at
getting
some
a head
point,
coaching job next year unless it's Penn State. That's over. He
well,
scored 70 in two
at
weeks.
some point, we got to rally too, because there's a reality where, you know, a strong reality where Dan Quinn's our coach in 2026, and we can't just throw in the white
Nauseating.
towel. We can't just throw in the white towel and say it's all over and blah blah blah. The same guy that we thought was a great coach and coach of the year last year, I don't think all of a sudden has turned into someone that just can't coach football. But I think that there's going to be a lot that needs to be done. It's a major humbling experience for the ownership, the general manager, and the coach. And all they need to do is look in the mirror. Right. It's not this is beyond being about bad luck with injuries. This is beyond being about there
And you
was
know what?
very poor roster. There is very poor roster decisions made.
That's what makes
That'll be
the
time for another podcast to go through a full breakdown of that. But there
that's
are
what makes
very
the
poor
Jayden
roster decisions
injury
made.
that's what makes the Jayden injury even worse and just an even more violent kick to the you know where is that it's just that's the headline now. Now the talk is why didn't Dan Quinn take Jayden out? Not why were we down 38-7 for the third time in 3 weeks?
Well,
That's the talk.
I think both will get talked about.
The injury is malpractice, but it's a fluke thing. He fell. He tried to brace himself on the way down. You, me, anybody else in that position is doing the same thing. The
But he's trying to
He
make a play.
shouldn't have been in the game. You got to
Yeah,
protect the guy from
I mean,
himself.
the
It's
reason
your
for it
job.
is he's trying to make a play and he's trying to be heroic rather than throwing the ball away or
But
doing something different.
you had like the second or third most cap space in the NFL, and you had all this draft capital to try and make the kid heroic, and you draft Josh Connerly Jr. and you bring Bobby Wagner back on a 1 year deal, and you say, okay, here we go. I traded a fifth rounder for Debo Samuel. Like this is a this isn't a trial. The whole goal of all of that was to not make Jaden have to be the hero every week. We sat here for an entire summer and we said we're doing all these things so that Jaden, even
Well,
if Jaden takes
and
a
you
step
played
back,
chicken with your best weapon on offense all off season rather than just getting the deal done
or
early on.
trading him. Or trade him.
Right.
If he's really making that ridiculous of an argument, get a second round pick for him.
Yeah.
A second round pick is more valuable than what he's given us this year so far. And I know he's been hurt, and it's a shame. But it's like
Well, it was poorly
the
handled is the point.
just
I mean, I
blew it.
think we all
Yeah.
want Jaden to be on the team, but it was just poorly
We're
handled.
talking
And
about Terry previously, by the way.
Terry,
Yes.
sorry. I'm yeah. I mean, we're emotional. We're fans. This is hard. I was as excited at the start of this game, but it was like this. To be honest with you, I was almost in a panic because I really wanted them to win this game, but I almost knew there was no chance. Right? I know that's not what I said, so you can call me on that. That's fine. I know I showed more confidence and I was giving you a
What's the
hard
point?
time, but yeah, that's done. It ain't happening. I'm just gonna call it like I see it. And
This is
the beautiful
2019,
thing about
2023 all over again.
the beautiful thing about sports and the most painful thing about it is there's a scoreboard. There's no running from it. So scoreboard doesn't lie, and we lost what is a third straight by more than 20. Like
And that
it's
scoreboard was 38-7 before Jayden Daniels got hurt because Dan Quinn is not a good football coach at this point in the year. I don't like I can't do the last year thing anymore, man. I can't do it. I'm over it. I'm over it. I know a bad football team when I see one, and I was wound up on this team for every week of this. You watched week one with me. I was stressed out. We were up 21-6 against the Giants. I was like, something don't look right. Week two, we get smacked. Some don't look right. Like every week this year, it's been this is not what it's supposed to be. And anybody with two eyes and watching it without their fan lens, which we
I know,
all
but you
have
can't
fan lens on,
you can't
aside
run the
from aside from two quarters in LA, could see that this thing was not right this year. And God bless Nikki Jabvala got dragged through heck and high water by every fan on Twitter for saying that this team did not look together and didn't look right after training camp. She was 100% right. 100% right. And sure, I'm emotional because my favorite football player just got really hurt and it's somebody's fault, right? But this is bigger than that, man. There is something wrong at the core of this thing. And sure, am I a sucker just like everybody else? And am I going to turn around and rally behind DQ if he's got to be our coach next year? I'll find the way. You'll find the way. But there's no reason for it. At this moment in time, this has got to
but
this has
you
got
can't
to
make
give.
organizational decisions based on emotional reactions. So I believe that these are
There's enough non-emotional evidence
can
to
I
back
finish
up.
can I finish
Go
my
ahead.
point?
Go ahead.
I
Go
believe
ahead.
I believe these are good football people. And I believe that Dan Quinn got a team to a Super Bowl. Okay, that wasn't like this incredibly talented team. He got them to a Super Bowl. He got us to 12-5 last year. You can't go George Steinbrenner and firing everybody at the whim of a hat and firing coaches, you know, 9 games into a season after a 12-5 year. You just can't do it. They miscalculated. They missed in the big way. AP and DQ are going to need to rally out of this thing and realize how badly they missed and realize that they should never approach anything with that level of arrogance again. So I think at this point, like we're in diminishing returns part of the
Yeah.
conversation. We'll rally, we'll pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, and we'll be back midweek, and I think we'll have a little bit more of a rational perspective on things, and then we'll go from there. Um, Simple as that.
It's might as well just wrap this thing up. It's just a yeah, like Pop said, this thing's
Bad
supposed
night.
to be fun, and it's just kind of an exercise of masochism at this point. It's over. It's just season's over, guys. We'll be back talking about it because we're all addicted to this thing, and we're here. But it's it is what it is, man. Let's wrap this thing up. Without further ado, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
Thank you all. Well, it hasn't been a great week. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Hail to the Commanders.
Yeah.